Hi everyone, today we're crocheting a men's sweater and this is in the size medium, and the sweater is constructed using a back panel, front panel, and 2 sleeves. For the materials, I used a little under 500 grams of 100% acrylic yarn, which is about 5.5 skeins, and this is a medium number 4 weight yarn in the color Full Moon. I also used a 5.5 and 6mm crochet hook, some stitch markers, a yarn needle, and a pair of scissors. In this first part, we'll make the back panel. So first I'm going to make a slip knot. So I took the tail end of the yarn and crossed it over the longer end of yarn. And with that long piece of yarn, I'm going to insert it into that hole and then take the 2 strands at the bottom and pull up to tighten. Grab your 5.5mm crochet hook and insert it into that loop. Using our smaller crochet hook, we're going to make the ribbing. Chain 77. Once you have 77 chains, we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So this is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th chain. And we're going to yarn over and insert our crochet hook into that 4th chain, picking up both loops. So I'm going in from the back side underneath 2 loops like this. So if you turn it over, that's 1 loop, and here's 2 loops, and we'll yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is optional, but you can mark your first stitch with a stitch marker. And we're going to double crochet in each chain until the end of the row. And before I continue, I'm going to take a stitch marker or a safety pin and mark inside of one of these stitches in the front. And this will help us keep track of the right side for the back panel when we're sewing the panels together later. At the end of the row, you should have 75 stitches, and to begin the next row, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and in the very first stitch, we're going to work a half double crochet, yarn over, insert the crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. In the next stitch, we're going to work a front post double crochet, yarn over, insert your crochet hook in the front of that post. So here's what it should look like. Then we'll yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And in the next stitch, we'll work a double crochet in the back post. So yarn over and insert your crochet hook into the back, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Repeat the pattern of front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet until the end of the row. So that's my front post, and going in from the back to work the back post double crochet. I finished working the last back post double crochet, and in the last stitch we'll work a half double crochet. So here's what the end of the row looks like. and you should still have 75 stitches. To begin the next row, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and we'll start by working a half double crochet in the very first stitch. And we're going to work the front post double crochet on top of that front post we made last row. So there's the front post double crochet, and the next one will be a back post. So I'll yarn over and go in from the back, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And we'll repeat this pattern until the end of the row. At the end of the row, place a half double crochet in the last stitch. We're going to repeat this pattern for one more row. So chain 1 and work a half double crochet in the first stitch, followed by a front post double crochet and back post double crochet until the end of the row. And at the end, the ribbing should measure around 2 inches. And I'm also ending on the wrong side of the ribbing, so the marker you placed at the very beginning should be at the back of your work. When you finish the back panel ribbing, take out the 5.5mm hook and replace it with the 6mm crochet hook. To start the next row, we'll chain 1 and turn our work. Half double crochet in the first stitch. Half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. I'm placing the last half double crochet in that final stitch, and at the end of the row you should have 75 stitches. To start the next row, chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. And we'll repeat this pattern of chain 1, turning our work, and half double crocheting until the body of the back panel measures around 16.5 inches long. And that's all the way from the bottom of our ribbing. And another note is I'm ending on the wrong side of the panel. So if I flip this over, this is the right side, and we want to end on the wrong side. Next, we're going to shape the armholes. So I'll chain 1, turn my work, and we're going to slip stitch in the first 13 stitches. After 13 slip stitches, you can count to make sure that you have the correct number. And we're going to chain 1 and work a half double crochet back into that same stitch, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until there are 12 stitches remaining in the row. So I have 12 stitches remaining in the row. We can count to make sure that there's 12. And what I'll do now is chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to continue working a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. I'm approaching the end of the row, and I'll repeat this pattern of chain 1, turn our work, and half double crochet until the entire panel reaches 26 inches from the bottom. So that's about 9.5 inches more from the 16.5 that we gained from working on the body of the back panel. So the back panel is 26 inches long, and I'm ending on the wrong side. So that's the right side, this is the wrong side, and it's 26 inches all the way from the bottom of the ribbing to the top. Next, we'll work on shaping the right shoulder. So chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to half double crochet in the next 13 stitches. After 13 half double crochets, you can count. To begin the next row, I'll chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to work a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then we'll half double crochet 2 together. Yarn over, insert your crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops on the hook. And then we'll work a half double crochet in the remaining stitches until the end of the row. We finished the right shoulder shaping, and we added about an extra inch to the back panel, and now I'm going to chain 1 and fasten off. And you want to leave behind a long tail for sewing the shoulder seams later. So I'm pulling the yarn through all the way and tightening that knot. To shape the left shoulder of the back panel, we're going to turn our work so that the right side is here, and this is where the left will be. And we're going to attach our yarn into the 14th stitch from the end of the row. So I'm counting up to that 14th stitch, and I will insert my crochet hook to mark that spot. Then I'm going to take some yarn and loop it onto the hook, pull that through, and then we can chain 1. Half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, half double crochet in the first stitch, and we'll half double crochet in each stitch until there's 3 stitches remaining. When you have 3 stitches left, we'll half double crochet 2 together, and in the final stitch we'll work a regular half double crochet. And that completes the shaping for the left shoulder on the back panel, and now we can chain 1 and fasten off. And remember to leave a long tail behind for sewing. So that concludes the back panel, and to make the front panel, we're going to repeat the same steps up to shaping the armholes. The only difference is we're going to stop at 23.5 inches, so it should be a little shorter than our back panel, and I'm ending on my wrong side instead of the right side. Next, we will shape the left shoulder. So chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to half double crochet in the next 17 stitches. After 17 half double crochets, we're going to turn, but we aren't going to chain our work. So I've turned my work and I'm going to slip stitch in the first 3 stitches. So that's the first stitch, second, and third. Then I will chain 1 and work a half double crochet in that same stitch. And we're going to half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of row 2, you should have 16 stitches, and you can count to make sure that you have the correct number. To begin row 3, chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until there are 2 stitches remaining. When there's 2 stitches left, we're going to leave them unworked, and we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then we'll half double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops on the hook. And then we'll continue working half double crochets until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you should have 13 stitches, and you can count to make sure. And for the remaining rows of the shoulder shaping, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and work half double crochets in each stitch until the end of the row. And we're going to do this until the front measures the same as our back panel shoulders. So here's my back panel, for example, and when I take the front panel and line this up, that top part of the shoulder should be the same length as our back panel. So right now you can see that I have a few rows left until I reach that same length. So I'm going to continue working half double crochet rows. So here's what it looks like once it's finished. And now we're going to work on the right shoulder shaping. Before we do that, we can fasten off the left shoulder, and I'm ending on the wrong side here. To fasten off, chain 1 and snip the yarn, leaving a long tail. To shape the right shoulder, we're going to turn our work. So this is the left. And to attach our yarn, we're going to count to the 18th stitch from the end. Insert your crochet hook to mark that stitch. Grab some yarn and loop that over the hook. And we'll chain 1. And we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you should have 18 stitches, and to begin row 2, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until there's 2 stitches remaining in the row. When you reach the last 2 stitches, we're going to leave those unworked. To begin row 3, we're not going to chain, but instead we'll turn our work, slip stitch in the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and work a half double crochet in that same stitch, half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you should have 14 stitches. And to begin row 4, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until there's 2 stitches remaining in the row. In the last 2 stitches, work a half double crochet 2 together. For the remaining rows, we're going to chain 1 and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the length of the right shoulder matches the length on the back panel. So similarly, like we did with the left shoulder, we're going to keep half double crocheting until we get to that height. And both sides should mirror each other. Once both the back and front panels are complete, we can move on to making the sleeves. To make the sleeves, we'll create a slip knot and insert your 5.5mm crochet hook. And we're going to start by creating the ribbing, chain 33. When you have 33 chains, we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So yarn over and insert into that chain underneath both loops, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Double crochet in each chain until the end of the row. Here's what the foundation row should look like, and don't forget to add a safety pin or stitch marker to mark the right side of the sleeve. To start row 2, chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet in the first stitch. And then we're going to work a front post double crochet, followed by a back post double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. And the last stitch should be a half double crochet, and to begin the next row, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in the first stitch, and continue working the pattern of front post, back post double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, here's what it looks like, and we're going to repeat this pattern for one more row. After you finish the 4th row, we can remove the 5.5mm crochet hook and insert the 6mm hook. Chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, here's what it looks like. And now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. I've done 2 rows of half double crochets, and we're going to start increasing the width of the sleeve. For the next row, we will chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to work 2 half double crochets in the first stitch. So yarn over, insert, and work a half double crochet, and back in that same stitch we're going to work another half double crochet, and this is called an increase. After doing the increase, we're going to work a regular half double crochet in each stitch until the last stitch of the row. In the last stitch of the row, we'll work an increase. So place 2 half double crochets in that stitch. And here's what the increase row should look like. And for the next row, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, place your final half double crochet, and here's what that should look like. The next row of the sleeve is an increase row, so chain 1, turn our work, and place an increase in the first stitch. Then work a half double crochet in each stitch until the last stitch of the row. In the last stitch, we'll work an increase. We'll repeat this pattern of increase and no increase rows 13 more times. So I made a little chart here to help me keep track. Because we just finished the increase row, I'm going to cross that out. And the next row is just a regular half double crochet row. And we'll keep working in pairs 13 more times. When you finish working that pair 13 times, the width of the sleeve should have increased. And for the next 2 rows, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and work a half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. And you'll repeat this for 2 rows. I've done 2 half double crochet rows, and to begin the next row, I'll chain 1, turn my work, and we'll start by working an increase in the first stitch, followed by a half double crochet in each stitch until the last stitch of the row. Work an increase in the last stitch of the row. For the next 3 rows, we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. So chain 1, turn your work, and work a half double crochet for the next 3 rows. After 3 rows, here's what the sleeve looks like. We'll repeat the last 4 rows one more time. So we'll work an increase row, followed by 3 half double crochet rows, one more time, and then I'll meet you back. So here I am after 4 rows. So I did that increase followed by 3 rows of half double crochet, and now I'll chain 1, turn my work. So at this point we've finished increasing the width of our sleeve, and now we'll just work regular rows of half double crochets until the sleeve measures 23.5 inches long. So it measured up to 23.5 all the way from the bottom of the sleeve's ribbing. To finish the sleeve, chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a long tail for sewing. Repeat the same steps to make a second sleeve. Once you have all 4 parts of the sweater complete, we can begin to assemble. I've opened up each piece and laid it out like this, and you can attach safety pins or stitch markers to keep it in place. First, we're going to sew the tops of the shoulder seams together. Using any loose strand of yarn that you fastened off, we're going to thread it onto our sewing needle, and we'll pick up the left shoulder seams. And before we begin sewing, it's important to make sure that the wrong side of the work is facing you, so you can check back on the safety pins that you placed in the beginning. To begin sewing, I'm taking my sewing needle and inserting it on the corner stitch on the other end. And I'm going to go back and weave through that corner stitch to make sure it's nice and secure. And we'll continue to sew in this fashion. And this is called whip stitching. So you insert your needle underneath a stitch, picking up 2 loops, and going through the stitch on the other end and pulling that tight. So continue to whip stitch along the edge here until you get to the end of the row. And I like to try to go through each stitch and not skip over any so that it looks clean. When you reach the final stitch, you can go through with your sewing needle and whip stitch back and forth a few times to secure it in place. And after that, we can weave our tail into our work. I'm working sideways into a few stitches to hide that tail of yarn. And you can pick up loops in different directions as well. When you're finished, you can snip off the yarn and repeat the same technique to sew the other shoulder seams together. The next part we want to sew is the sleeve along the edge here. If the sleeve panel doesn't fit perfectly in that space, then you don't have to worry. You can just stretch it out a little bit, and once you sew everything together, it will even itself out. I've sewn along the top here and worked my way to the side, and we don't want to snip off this tail of yarn because we'll need it once we fold it in half and sew the bottom half together. So keep that tail of yarn. For this little section here, I'm attaching some yarn since I didn't have a tail to work with. So you can tie a knot and then weave in and out until you reach the top. And lastly, when you fold it in half, you'll sew along the edge of the sleeve and bottom half of the sweater. The final part of this tutorial is to add a ribbing for the collar. So insert your 5.5mm crochet hook into that top corner of the shoulder. Take some yarn and loop it onto the crochet hook and pull that through. Then we'll chain 1. And work a double crochet in each stitch all the way around. And there may not be perfect stitches to work into, so try your best to pick up 1 or 2 loops as you work your way around. At the end of the round, slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet, chain 1, and work a front post double crochet in the first post, followed by a back post double crochet in the next post. And we'll repeat this pattern of front post double crochet followed by back post all the way around. You'll repeat the pattern of front post, back post double crochet until the ribbing of the collar reaches your desired width. I hope you liked the way your sweater turned out, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.